सब लोग तो आ गए हैं और कोई बाकी है? हमारे बैच के इस क्लास में जो लोग हैं
सर सब आ गए हैं 9 लोग।
all has come. Okay, so I think screen visible है?
Yes sir.
Yes. Okay. So as the name of the subject goes, so we know, I think the name is digital forensic. क्या सब्जेक्ट का पूरा नाम क्या है देखे हो?
Digital and cyber forensics sir.
Digital and cyber forensic. So let us go by that name, digital and cyber forensic. Last semester maybe when we discussed about that malware classes, I gave you certain reference. Sometimes I use this term and I told you that basically what we're going to do in malware and what we will do in forensic classes. So malware classes, if we recall, malware classes we were talking about some objects, binary objects, कोई भी binary एक exe file या elf file, the executable file in general, if that is there in our system and we want to find out what this particular file can do. So that's something we can say it's some sort of say offensive mechanism जहाँ हम लोग basically not offensive, it's also some sort of defense, yes, of defensive, क्योंकि हम लोग के अब कुछ आया है और हम डिफेंस करना चाहते हैं कि how this is working. Now consider a scenario when really something has happened in the system and then you want to find out the root cause, the reasons why this has occurred. Then you need to basically you can have some person, might be कि एक आदमी तुमको बताया या you have got some feedback from the users or from the system, you found some sort of unusual activity. Then that is basically called as incidents. So some incident has occurred inside your system. Now कुछ incident हुआ है. Now you are going to find out or determine कि how good or bad that incident is, how that is going to be affected your system, and you are going to basically find the root cause, exactly how this occurred, why this occurred, and what can be done, how to report this scenario to our higher authorities. Because तुम कहीं भी काम करोगे किसी भी organization में, the first thing is you will be working under one team and then you will have your own reporting officer. जो भी होगा तुम्हारा एक बॉस होगा, कंपनी का एक बॉस होगा. So you have to let them know exactly what has occurred so that they can also take care of those things, because ultimately to do anything you need funds and you need people for that. How you can get those things? So in most of the organizations, in fact, we have an incident response team, right? So the job of incident response team is to find out if the event and how, why that occurred, how that occurred, and so on. बहुत सारे organizations में, especially in smaller organizations, we do not have that say team. So if we talk about कि exactly एक incident अगर होता है, पूरा process क्या है? So first of all, before like anything, it's a disaster. It's basically it. If something has occurred in your system, it can be just analogous to a disaster scenario. So जैसे disaster में होता है disaster mitigation, so we also need to take care of that security mitigations or security breaches. So first thing is to cope up with all these things, we need to have a preparation mechanism. So we need to prepare. Prepare means before the incident has occurred, I should have a team. We talk about creating and putting them in plan, putting a plan exactly if something will occur, how we will go to investigate them. So there will be, say, in a team, if there are 4 people, then what is the job of say person 1, person 2, person 3, person 4. So clarifying their jobs. Okay, this is the job you will need to take care of. So this is our network, this is our system, this is our scenario, and the persons you are responsible for this, or you are basically looking after this, you are looking after this. So that's the preparation mechanism. We need to be prepared for all sort of things. Then we need to procure all the hardware, software, or in fact install, create a machine which can do this sort of analysis. That's also a part of preparation. I hope that's very simple thing, because if something will occur, तब तो हम खरीदने नहीं जाएंगे, तब तो हम system ready नहीं करेंगे. So we need to prepare our system. So the first phase of any incident response is preparing the system. So preparation includes creating the manpower, creating the systems. So in system, we need to put what sort of hardware we require, then what sort of software tools we require. And most of the tools here, the hardware which we will be using will be our a simple laptop. Don't worry, we are not going to buy anything. I'm not asking you to buy anything specific for this particular course. We will be using tools which are mostly open source and free, so that you can download, you can work with them without any cost. So but you have to prepare all these things. Next thing goes the detection. How to detect? Now the detection can be okay, someone is looking after and then found some unusual activity, or some third party say told, or even sometimes the attacker itself let you know exactly this is what your system is under attack. Now you need to pay me this money, or you need to take care of this, so that you can get rid of this. Even sometimes they also inform you. So in those cases, you need to next follow. So you detect that. So you found about information about that. Then the next thing is analysis. What to analyze, how to analyze that. So what exactly we can do? If you have got an information, then you need to take care, or you need to find out exactly if this say attack, how fatal this is. What is the total loss, or what things we will lose, how badly it will affect my organization. So these things you will do first thing. So first part of analysis is this. Second part of analysis is what are the evidences you can collect from this incident, and how to preserve the say evidences, right? So preparation, detection, analysis. Next phase is containment. So once you have come to know that okay, there is an attack, or there is an incident, there is something has occurred in the system, then obviously you want to contain them. Contain means like this, we are still passing through very infectious disease, and we know the containment, the importance of containment now. So if you recall, all those lockdowns, etc., we are just containment mechanism. So people were locked down in their home just to contain the virus. Okay, wherever they have affected, let them affect there only. At least we should stop the spread. So similarly, in a computer system, if a virus has occurred, or if a breach has occurred, first thing you will want to do is you need to contain them. Okay, let that particular system cut off, or let the things cut off, so that other systems are not infected. But this is not a very easy task, because nation-wise lockdown is not a very easy task. You know, a lot of losses and lot of problems to the people. You have seen several people has to say they have lost their jobs and so on. So you have to bear a lot of things. So during containment, your target will be how to minimize the total loss, still contain the spread of this virus. And for every sort of activity, like every type of incident, you will have a different containment mechanism. So if it is a say network attack, then probably you can disconnect the network, and then whatever are how many systems have been affected, you just isolate them, and then you do the analysis on them. But if there is something which like web server, you cannot put it down time, then you need to have something, some other mechanism, probably switch to another network, or create another say system and so on. So how fastly you can do and everything. Next one is a recovery. So how to recover from that situation. And the last page is post-incident activity. So you have recovered, now you have to create a report out of that, and you have to prepare another plan exactly in future how we can really take care of this sort of events, and in fact not go or the losses in the future can be minimized. So this is the total say outline of incident response part. So incident response is the bigger picture. But now the question is, sir, the course is about cyber forensic or digital forensic. Why we are talking about incident response? Because incident response is a bigger picture. So we have a big picture which is called incident response, and in that big picture we have a small part which is forensic. So forensic probably is say involved in that what you say analysis and containment part. Basically in analysis part we have the forensic. For rest of the part, you have a different manpower, you have a different say strategy to do all those things. Some of the times, in fact, you do not require a forensic technique. So a simple incident response, like if you have a DDoS attack, there is hardly anything to be left for a forensic. But if there is a malware attack, probably a normal malware attack, a normal sort of intrusion, then you have a lot of forensic to be done and so on. So forensic is just a part of the total incident response cycle. Okay, now let us come to the forensic part. So if I define what a forensic is, or digital forensic is in fact. So I have highlighted some of the portions in this definitions. You can note it down also. The use of scientifically derived and proven methods. So first thing you should, so every point here, every word here is in fact very important. The process what we are going to follow in a forensic should be scientifically derived and proven methods. So you cannot come up with an idea and say, sir, this is a forensic. If it has to be forensic, it has to be proven, and the derivation, or it should have a concrete background, and you can prove that, okay, this is how it is being derived. So it's a scientifically derived and proven method towards the preservation. So how to preserve something, collection, how to collect something, validation, how to validate whatever you have collected, identify the important events from them, analyze them, interpret the result, document them, and present it. So the use of scientifically derived and proven methods towards collection, validation, identification, analysis, interpretation, documentation, and presentation of digital evidence. Now another keyword is digital evidence. So what is a digital evidence? We will come to that. So digital evidence derived from digital sources. Now digital sources, digital sources can be a computer, a laptop, a mobile phone, or a simple a camera. Even now, say, since all the devices are being connected, so even a fridge, even a television, if they are connected, if they have storage, if they can be programmed, so all those now becomes a digital sources. So still we will second to the sources which are having storage like computer, laptop, camera phones, mobile phones, and so on, for the purpose of facilitating or furthering the reconstruction of event found to be criminal, or helping to anticipate unauthorized actions shown to be disruptive to planned operations. So that's a definition which there are several other definitions also, but this is the definition. I feel that it's a complete definition. You have everything which is digital forensic. So if we talk about digital forensic, no doubt we are talking about the digital sources. In digital sources are any source where you have storage, where you have programming, and all these things. So from digital sources, we can find out digital evidence. Now, the source, like a computer, can be a source, but ultimately you have to find out certain evidence from that computer. A computer is not the evidence. Remember this. A computer is not an evidence. A computer is a source, digital source, from where we can find out certain evidences. Now, what can be evidence? Now, evidence can be, say, if we want to prove that someone has browsed, say, a child pornography through this computer, right? Research goes on into this area of say child pornography in case of digital forensic. The whole world is in fact still suffering from this particular question or this particular act of misact of humanity. So how to prove that? So if you have, say, caught a person, then you want to prove that. So for that, you can seize his or her computer, and then you can extract evidences. Now, evidences can lie in so many places, and that's what we will study in this particular whole course. Now, the evidences can be, the recent files. The evidences can be in several log files. If he or she has browsed, say, internet, then probably in the say web browser, there can be certain traces. There is a Windows shell bag, we call it. There can be certain traces. We also have like Windows registry where we can have certain traces. So how to find out also if that, then after downloading some file, the user has deleted those files. Then you have to recover those deleted file from his or her media and then prove it into the code that, okay, it was found on his system. It was his or her login. If it is a system belonging to him, only he or she can do this. So those are the evidences. So finding, extracting all those things. Even if you can find out a picture, then he or she can deny, I have not done this. Probably you have written it while you seized it, and then you have written it. So you have to preserve the system as it was. The thing you need to do is, so that's why the first. So in order to find out the digital evidences, you can find out several evidences. That's what we will do in this whole course. But as soon as it goes to a court of law, the person can deny the convict or basically उसके लिए क्या वर्ड यूज होता है? कन्विक्ट तो हो गया जिसको सजा मिल गई ना. Suspect. अच्छा, okay, suspect, right? Suspect can be a better way. So suspect can deny. नहीं, मैंने नहीं किया है. So how to preserve the system? So first, then how you will collect? So you preserve that system. So say you have taken the whole picture of and everything what I just told, like registry files or deleted files or Windows shell bag or recent file, everything will be there on the hard disk only. Everything is written onto the hard disk. So basically you preserve the hard disk. So you take an image of the hard disk, complete image of the hard disk. Now we'll come to that, what we mean by complete image of the hard disk. So, and that has to be preserved. So we have to prove that whatever image I have taken of this hard disk. So we will not only copy the hard disk, say some files or portions of that hard disk. In fact, we will clone the whole hard disk to our update. So लेकिन एक बार उसको preserve करेंगे. देखो कंप्यूटर में प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि say you have caught one system, you have seized one system, and then you are going to do analysis with that same system. So जब भी analysis करेंगे, there is always a chance that there can be some programs or there are something which can overwrite on that particular disk. और अगर कुछ भी उस disk पे write होता है, because the history will change if you use that same system, the history will change, file access time will change, and then that particular suspect will always deny in the court. नहीं, मैंने नहीं किया, आप देखिए, तब तो मैं जेल में था. I was in custody when this system, when the last file was accessed and so and so. No, ये सब तुम लोग देखे होगे?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
File, if you open that file, so last access date will change, and that is enough for a suspect to put his or her point कि नहीं मैंने ये नहीं किया है, आप देखिए लास्ट एक्सेस डेट मेरा नहीं है, तब तो मैं कस्टडी में था एंड सो. So first thing is you need to keep that in safe custody with a right blocker कि इस पे फिर कोई right ना हो. Now the question is कि if I preserved it, the next thing I need to do is कि I have to basically find something from that, collect some information from that. Now how to collect? अगर फिर उस हार्ड डिस्क को हम वहां से लेते हैं और लेके अगर उसको हम फिर से अगर ऑन करते हैं सिस्टम में कनेक्ट करके, तो हम अगर सिस्टम में कनेक्ट करके जब ही देंगे, तो what things what we'll do is there may be some processes in my system or through network or by anywhere they can change some of the files on those hard disks, and then that whole forensic, the whole thing will be destroyed, or basically the suspect will have some other dimensions to make to plea that I am not guilty. So what we need to preserve that, and we need to create copies, and that's what we tried to do in last class. So what, Mandeep, if you recall last day's class, I think there was some problem, but what we tried to do last day was, so given a hard disk, how to copy that hard disk or how to copy that information into our own disks or into our own places, so that we can how to create a copy of that disk. अगर सीधे शब्दों में बोले कि हमने कुछ सीज किया, एक हार्ड डिस्क को सीज किया, नाउ द क्वेश्चन इज हाउ टू क्रिएट अ कॉपी ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर हार्ड डिस्क. बोलोगे सर कोई भी फॉर्मेट करके डिस्क ले लेंगे और उस पर कॉपी कर देंगे. नो, दैट इज नॉट द प्रॉपर वे. Because if you recall your operating system and linked list classes, linked list or data structure or operating system के classes को अगर recall करो, so when we format, basically how a data disk is stored. So एक disk में, I will come to that exactly how the disk, the data in a disk is stored. In a very normal sense, अगर सोचो कि एक disk में क्या होता है, mainly there are two lists. One is the occupied list, the other is the free list. So whenever you are writing something, it takes a block of space from that free list and write it there, and then make a pointer to that occupied list. Right, that's what it does normally. So, दिख रहा है ये पेंट विंडो?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So मान लो कि ये मेरा एक डिस्क है और ये एक अनदर डिस्क है, दूसरा डिस्क है. सो ये मेरा ओरिजिनल डिस्क है, सो जो सस्पेक्ट के यहाँ से मिला है, और ये मेरा अपना डिस्क है, ओन डिस्क, जिस पे मैं चाहता हूँ कॉपी बनाना चाहता हूँ, यार इसको मैं कॉपी ही बोल देता हूँ, एक कॉपी करूंगा इस पे, so that later on I can play with this, and this is preserved. Now obviously I have to connect these two disks through a computer in order to copy it, और तब हम यही चाहेंगे कि यहाँ से इंफॉर्मेशन सिर्फ यहाँ पे आए. This is what we will want, isn't it? The problem, then where is the problem? हम इतना सारा चीज क्यों कर रहे थे पिछले दिन? So the reason is कि as I was telling कि whenever there is a disk, हाँ सर, Okay, sorry. So this is what we want from original. We will take all everything from original and and write it onto this copy disk. Now, as I was telling, so normally in a disk, I will come to that structure in a very short span of time. So let's see, we have some space which is occupied and some other space which will be free onto this disk. Addressing kaise karenge, I will come to that. So there are mainly two sort of list. This occupied list is basically maintained through what is called as file table or FAT system, ext system. जो भी systems हम बोलते हैं ना file system. So this is the file is keeping track of the FAT list. And then there is another free list. Normally इस FAT में ही लिखा रहता है free list. So when we are trying to write something, it takes some space from the, it probes it and it finds certain space which is free, and then things are written and in fact appropriate entry is made. When we delete, in fact, अगर हम एक disk से कुछ delete करते हैं, तो what happens? It just this is never erased. जैसे मान लो कि occupied है, इस data को हम delete करते हैं. So when we delete, no, we never wipe it out. We only remove this entry from FAT and we make it कि ये free हो गया. Am I clear? मैं समझा पा रहा हूँ?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
हम एक्चुअली फिजिकली कुछ भी डिलीट नहीं करते, सिर्फ FAT फाइल सिस्टम में जो सिस्टम यूज कर रहे हैं, इट माइट बी एक्सटी, इट माइट बी मैक ओएक्स का फाइल सिस्टम, जो भी फाइल सिस्टम है, वी जस्ट मेक दैट एंट्री फाइल सिस्टम में जो है पॉइंटर, उसको हम लिख देते हैं कि नाउ दिस एरिया इज फ्री, बट रियली दैट एरिया इज नॉट इरेज्ड, वाइप्ड आउट, वाइप आउट नहीं करते हैं. सो द डेटा स्टिल स्टेज देयर. जैसे तुम सोचते होगे कि सर शिफ्ट डेल अगर प्रेस करते हैं विंडोज में तो वो फाइल अचानक से पूरा डिलीट हो जाता है. नो, नॉर्मली फाइल देखो, नॉर्मली जब फाइल में राइट क्लिक करके या ऐसे डिलीट बटन प्रेस करते हो तो वो रिसाइकल बिन में जाता है, राइट? और फिर तुम रिसाइकल बिन को एम्प्टी करते हो तो लगता है कि वो फाइल हमेशा के डिलीट हो गया, बट ऐसा है नहीं. ये याद रखो कि जब भी तुम डिलीट करते हो, तुम अपने हार्ड डिस्क को अगर गलती से तुम अगर लो लेवल का फॉर्मेटिंग कर भी दो किसी ड्राइव को, वी कैन रिट्रीव दैट एंड आफ्टर टुमारोज क्लास प्रोबब्ली विल बी एबल टू डू. किसी के भी सिस्टम के साथ अगर होता है तुम आराम से सारे डेटा को रिट्रीव कर सकते हो. क्यों कर सकते हैं? क्योंकि फिजिकली एक्चुअली वो डिलीट नहीं हुआ है, सिर्फ पॉइंटर्स बदल गए हैं. और लिंक लिस्ट में तुम जानते हो आपका एक मीटिंग है शाम को, आपको एक फॉरवर्ड कर दिए हैं सम्राट का. लेटर है सर, लिंक ना है. हाँ लेटर है, फिजिकल मीटिंग है. फिजिकल कहाँ पे सर? 2 PM में नेक्स्ट डायरेक्टर भेज दे रहा हूँ, ठीक है, देख लीजिए. मेरा क्लास है, भी बाद में बात करेंगे. इज इट क्लियर टू एवरीवन?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
never
sir.
panic. अगर तुम कुछ चीज गलती से डिलीट भी कर देते हो तो नेवर पैनिक आउट. इनफैक्ट जानबूझ के तो नहीं, एक बार मैं खुद भी गलती कर चुका हूँ. आई डिलीटेड एवरीथिंग फ्रॉम माय डी ड्राइव. सो आई लास्ट टाइम मैंने तुम लोगों के साथ बोला भी था कि डी ड्राइव में मेरा कुछ था और मैंने गलती से उस डिस्क ये एक पेन ड्राइव फॉर्मेट करना था एंड आई जस्ट फॉर्मेटेड द डी ड्राइव ऑफ माय सिस्टम. देन आई रिकवर्ड एवरीथिंग. It took 2 days, but I recovered everything. So the point is, whether it is in recycle bin or not, if you have not written something onto that disk, chance that everything. अगर कुछ लिखते भी हो, say even if you are writing something, so wherever you will write, only those portions will be overwritten और वो retrieve नहीं होगा, rest will be retrieved. Clear? So अगर हम इस तरह का, तो हम जो अभी तक जो व्हाट वी डिस्कस्ड कि गिवन अ से डिस्क, if it is not a branded new disk, that means what? If this disk, even if we format, this disk has already something written onto that. I hope you will agree with that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
कोई भी डिस्क तुम लाओ, अगर ये पूरा एकदम फैक्ट्री डिस्क नहीं, मतलब फैक्ट्री अप्लाई डिस्क नहीं, एकदम नया डिस्क नहीं है, तो उसके ऊपर हो सकता है उसमें भी कुछ लिखा हो, बिकॉज वी डू नॉट नो एग्जैक्टली उन्होंने क्या किया है, कैसे किया है। बट गिवन एनी डिस्क जो हम डेली यूज में करते हैं या जो पहले से यूज हुआ है, उस डिस्क में हम ये एश्योरिटी नहीं दे सकते हैं कि इसमें ये पूरा ब्लैंक है। इनफैक्ट इट इज नॉट ब्लैंक। Once you are formatting, you are only creating a file system. Depending on the type, file system type, you are जो भी use करो, FAT करो, FAT32 करो, NTFS करो, EX2, EX3, जो भी करना है करो, but you are only creating a file system. That's all. The 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 content, whatever has been written onto that disk, that stays there. So if, or that becomes a problem for us. Why? When we are going to copy, now this consider this copy disk. So ये copy disk पहले भी use हुआ है हम लोगों से, we have already used it, and now we are going to copy. So as I told, this copy disk had already some information written onto this. We formatted it, but those informations are still there. So now if I just copy, or if I take my, if I just copy this data from this original to this copy, what will occur? It will say if this copy disk is bigger, some portion will be occupied by this data from the original, and rest of the portions it will remain as it is. जो पहले से कुछ भी लिखा हुआ था बैकग्राउंड में, वो वैसे ही छूट जाएगा, होगा ना?
Yes, sir.
प्रॉब्लम फॉरेंसिक टूल यूज करेंगे, तो फॉरेंसिक टूल्स विल वर्क एट लो लेवल। तो वो क्या करेंगे, सिर्फ इसी का, जब ये यहाँ पे मान लो कि इस ओरिजिनल का इतना दूर तक में हम ओरिजिनल लिखे, ये इस ओरिजिनल का डेटा आ गया, रेस्ट डेटा मेरा पहले का गार्बेज कुछ भी डेटा पड़ा हुआ था। तो जब फॉरेंसिक टूल्स, व्हेनेवर वी विल यूज द फोरेंसिक टूल्स विल वर्क ऑन दिस होल डिस्क एंड दे कैन फाइंड समथिंग व्हिच वाज देयर। मान लो कि अर्लियर केस का कुछ था जो यहाँ पे रह गया था, and then we can say कि ये भी आप ही का है, and then somewhere it will not be validated. ये validate तो नहीं हो सकता है क्योंकि ये उसका था ही नहीं। कभी भी जब ओरिजिनल के साथ इसको मैच कराया जाएगा, सेम सूट अगर इस पे काम करे या कोई दूसरे एक्सपर्ट को लगाया जाए जो कि डिस्क को पूरी तरह से ब्लैंक करके कॉपी को करे, तो वो चीज, एंड देन योर क्रेडिबिलिटी विल बी एट रिस्क कि क्या एक्सपर्ट है, क्या एनालाइज करते हैं यार, पुराने चीज को इसके साथ जोड़ देते हैं। Is it? I think the motivation is good enough. You can understand exactly situation kya hai.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes.
So what we want ultimately is कि this disk basically copy, this has to be totally blank, wiped out. Wipe out करना है, format नहीं करना है. And to wipe out, we have commands like last day, which we thought we will discuss, DD, disk duplicator. This stands for disk duplicator. So DD, and there are a lot of variants of DD. बहुत सारे कमांड है DD और उसके वेरिएंट्स हैं, जो क्या करते हैं, इस पूरे डिस्क को वाइप आउट करते हैं। वाइप आउट, सो व्हेनेवर, हाउ टू वाइप आउट नाउ, दैट्स अनदर क्वेश्चन कि वाइप आउट करेंगे कैसे सर। सो वाइप आउट करने का एक ही तरीका है, यू टेक एनी स्पेशल कैरेक्टर और जीरोज एंड यू फिल इट, यू राइट द होल डिस्क विथ जीरोज or with some special character. So if you do that, what will occur? Everything will be zeroed out. So there won't be anything now. So that whole disk now, so हम लोग क्या करेंगे, whenever we are going to create a copy from the original, this copy disk has to be wiped out. So we can use this sort of command, say DD and its variant to wipe out. This wipe out can occur to zero, अगर कुछ नहीं सप्लाई करते हैं, नॉर्मली ये क्या करता है, लो लेवल पे पूरे में जीरो लिख देगा और फिर उसके ऊपर इस डिस्क के कंटेंट को लिखेगा। तो जो बाकी एरिया बचा है यहाँ सिर्फ जीरो है। सो दैट यू नो कि इफ यू आर गेटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ जीरो, दैट मींस दिस एरिया इज बेसिकली द जीरो व्हिच यू हैव फिल्ड इट। जी सर। So then that, I think that's a good idea.
Yes, sir.
और यू कैन टेक एनी स्पेशल कैरेक्टर. सो नेक्स्ट डे जो हमारा लैब होगा हम लोग उसमें यही करेंगे. For that, I will request everyone to basically take a disk. हम तो पूरा एक hard disk नहीं लेंगे. You can take a basically say some sort of pen drive, and you can just try using this sort of commands, DD commands. बहुत सारे variants है DD commands के, that we will discuss with you next day when in the lab class. और DD command use करके कि how we to find out that, and obviously for this we will be using Kali. राजेश जी क्लास के बाद मिलिए ना. काली हम लोग यूज करेंगे, जो भी लेटेस्ट काली वर्जन है. सब लोग काली लिनक्स आई होप कि सबके सिस्टम में है. अगर नहीं है सो प्लीज, लास्ट टाइम आई थिंक मोस्ट ऑफ यू हैड डाउनलोडेड. अगर नहीं है तो प्लीज इंस्टॉल काली. नॉर्मली माय सजेशन विल बी यूज वर्चुअलाइजेशन. अभी भी कोई ऐसा है जिस पे काली जिसके यहाँ नहीं हुआ है? Is there anyone who doesn't have Kali Linux?
यस सर, मेरे में नहीं है बट आज कर लेंगे सर.
मेरे में नहीं है तो उसको करो.
यस सर, आज फर्स्ट था पता नहीं.
हाँ, और सबके यहाँ तो है मेरे ख्याल से. जितने एमटेक स्कॉलर हैं उनके यहाँ तो होना चाहिए.
Yes, sir. We resolved that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I don't have.
सो हम लोग काली लिनक्स यूज करेंगे. काली में तुम्हारे पास मशीन है, तुम देख सकते हो डीडी कमांड काम करता है. सो जस्ट डू दैट. यूज अ पेन ड्राइव. हम लोग पेन ड्राइव यूज करेंगे स्वाइप आउट के लिए और ये सारे कमांड टेस्ट करने के लिए, बिकॉज अदरवाइज हमारे पास डिस्कनेक्ट करके अगर पेन ड्राइव पे यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड जब हमारे पास डिस्क होगा, दैट डिस्क हैज टू बी कनेक्टेड थ्रू अनदर इंटरफेस. दैट्स ऑल. रेस्ट ऑफ द मैकेनिज्म विल रिमेन सेम. उसके लिए लास्ट डे जो कुछ कमांड्स मनदीप बताने का कोशिश कर रहा था कि फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हम लोग अगर काली यूज कर रहे हैं, वी आर यूजिंग लाइनक्स. सो फर्स्ट वी नीड टू आइडेंटिफाई कि हमारे पास कितने डिस्क हैं, कितने लेआउट हैं उसके और क्या क्या है. दैट्स व्हाट वी नीड टू फाइंड आउट. सो यू कैन यूज दिस कमांड disk -l, fdisk -l, which will give you list all the disks which are there on your system. वर्चुअलाइजेशन में जो प्रॉब्लम होगा कि बहुत बार तुम लोगों को शायद नहीं दिखे. सो माय सजेशन विल बी यू गो टू द वर्चुअल डेस्क. जैसे वर्चुअल बॉक्स में जाओ, वर्चुअल बॉक्स में जाके यूएसबी इंटरफेस जहां दिखता है वहां से ऐड करो. देखो तुम करोगे ना, पेन ड्राइव ऐड करोगे तो वो वर्चुअल डेस्क में नॉर्मली नहीं दिखता है, तो सॉरी काली में, तो वहां ऐड कर दोगे तो आएगा. नेक्स्ट डे विल सी, वी टॉक अबाउट दिस, वी विल टॉक अबाउट दिस इन डिटेल्स. अगर किसी का हुआ है, कर लिए हो तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. Okay, so next let's just move on to this slide. So I think the definition, so preserve karna, then collecting this information from that, then validating that everything is okay, then identifying ki ye kis case ke sath iska hoga, analysis, then these are interpretation which is most important ki exactly if you got picture, option picture, or some sort of proof that goes against that suspect. So how to interpret that? You have to give a concrete writing in writing with proper reason. This is what I interpret, that this is the meaning of this one. Because कोर्ट में जो बैठा होगा, he or she is not a computer engineer. जो वकील केस को ये कर रहा है, प्रोसिक्यूट कर रहा है, जो डिफेंड कर रहा है, they are not computer engineers, they are not the expert in digital data. So you have to interpret that exactly what it means with sufficient reasons, background. Then well documented. ये सारे चीजें well documented होने चाहिए, क्योंकि ये कोर्ट में जा सकता है. And if something goes into court, you need to have proper documentation. Proper documentation. The documentation starts from the time when the first the computer is seized. जैसे कंप्यूटर मिला उस समय हम उसका पिक्चर लेंगे, डॉक्यूमेंट करेंगे कि कितना क्या मॉडल है इस कंप्यूटर का, कितने टाइम में सीज हुआ, किसने सीज किया, क्या स्टेटस था, ऑन था, ऑफ था, एंड सो ऑन, ऑल दोज थिंग्स. लेटर ऑन जब हम डिस्क निकालेंगे उसका, मान लो, तो देन डिस्क, हर एक डिस्क पे एक नंबर रहता है, उसका सीरियल नंबर, मेक, मॉडल, सब कुछ रहता है. सो It's better to use a picture, take a picture of physical disk पहले, बाहर से उसका एक physical disk का एक image ले, उसको भी attach करे कि this is the disk, दो चार लोगों से जो भी witness है उनसे sign करवाए कि हाँ यही disk उस समय siege हुआ था या इस कंप्यूटर में यही, and then for whenever you are going to analyze, your system can show the volume number and the serial number of that disk to match it with the picture और जो उसके ऊपर लिखा हुआ है कि ये दोनों एक ही चीज है, या हो सकता है कि कोई क्रिमिनल है, कल्प्रिट है, वो क्या किया डिस्क के ऊपर वाला लेवल हटा के दूसरा लेवल लगा दिया है जानबूझ के, कि बाद में अगर कोई उसको उठा के ले जाए पिक्चर खींचे, लेकिन जब वो रियल डिस्क देखेगा तो रियल डिस्क में तो दूसरा नंबर आएगा, तो मेरे पास ऑलरेडी एक प्रूफ है, नहीं ये होगा कि नहीं नहीं ये मेरा नहीं है। सो उस समय ही उसको वैलिडेट कर देना और लिखना कि हाँ ये था, ये दोनों सीरियल नंबर यहाँ थे, फिजिकल ऊपर में जो पेस्टेड है और अंदर में जो प्रोग्राम के थ्रू आ रहा है, दिस इज द सीरियल नंबर द कंप्यूटर इज आल्सो शोइंग। सो be well documented with proper forms. I have some book, I think in one of the book they have forms also कि किस तरह के फॉर्म में इसको लिखना चाहिए। So they have several forms for seizing the documents कि कैसे हम डॉक्यूमेंट कैसे क्या क्या सीज किए हैं, कब कब किए हैं, कौन किया है, कितना नंबर है, केस फाइल नंबर एंड सो ऑन एवरीथिंग। So everything has to be documented and then obviously it has to be presented. The presentation should be in such a way that it can be understood by non-computer background people also, because most of the time these things will be dealt with persons who are not experts, who are not expert क्या कुछ कुछ केस में तो जानते भी नहीं होंगे, कुछ भी नहीं, दे बोलेंगे कि दूर दूर तक मेरा कंप्यूटर से कोई रिश्ता ही नहीं है, सो उनके भी समझ में आए या यूज कर सके। सो नाउ कुछ डेफिनेशंस जैसे हमने कहा मैंने, एविडेंस। सो there are two terms people use, one is called as artifacts, the other one is called as evidence. In fact, evidence, artifacts क्या है? The examiner reveals the truth of an event by discovering and exposing the remnants of events that have been left on the system. जैसा I told कि whenever you are opening a file, you are always leaving something onto your system. And there is a Locard principle, एक बहुत popular principle है called as Locard principles. एक forensic science के लिए है. It's not only about digital forensic, even true for the normal biological forensic also. Locard principle says that when two objects come in contact with each other, they exchange something. अगर तुम किसी रूम में जाते हो, मान लो कि वहां कारपेट है, अगर तुम रूम में गए तो तुम्हारे जूतों के छाप उस कारपेट पे पड़ेंगे। सिमिलरली हो सकता है कि उस कारपेट के कुछ धागे तुम्हारे जूतों में कनेक्ट होंगे, अटैक होंगे, अटैच्ड हो जाएंगे एंड सो ऑन। सो दिस इज कॉल्ड एज लोकार्ड एक्सचेंज प्रिंसिपल। Same thing occurs with the digital devices also. Whenever you are interacting with a digital device, as soon as you are opening a file, a lot of logs are created, जो हम बहुत सारे लोग नहीं भी जानते हैं। इनफैक्ट जैसे हम लोग नॉर्मली जो देखते हैं कि क्विक एक्सेस में आ जाता है, रिसेंट एक्सेस हिस्ट्री में दिखता है, बट देयर आर अदर हिडन प्लेसेस आल्सो, दिस थिंग्स आर स्टोर्ड व्हिच a normal user doesn't know. So if someone is not expert one, they do not know that these things are also stored in places. Like there is a sale bag, there is a place called as Windows sale bag. सेल बैग में हर चीज स्टोर होता है कि कौन सा फाइल हमने ओपन किया, किस मोड में फाइल का सिस्टम था एंड एवरीथिंग। सिमिलरली इन रजिस्ट्री आल्सो दे कीप इंफॉर्मेशन कि व्हेन इट वाज ओपन, व्हेन दिस वाज क्लोज्ड, व्हाट इज द लेआउट, कि ये डिटेल व्यू में है, से आइकन व्यू में है या शॉर्ट व्यू में, किस तरह के व्यू में ये फाइल खोला गया था, ये फोल्डर खोला गया था एंड ऑल दोज थिंग्स। सो दीज आर द रेमनेंट्स बेसिकली। So ये remnants रह जाते हैं. Whenever you are opening a system, you are interacting with the system, these remnants are left onto that, on your system, and these remnants are traces of recent file open, which all of you know. These remnants are, these artifacts are basically also known as evidence, but normally not all artifacts will be evidence. If I made it clear. Yes, sir. So not all artifacts are going to court, or all artifacts may be treated as evidence. Some of the artifacts may be treated as evidence, or they may be adding value to your findings and so on. So then those cases are called as evidence. So evidence is nothing but artifacts which you can use in legal proceedings mainly. Now coming to the forensic process. At start, what I told was the incident response, the whole complete picture. Now we are only concentrating on the forensic. So in forensic, if you say what are the process in forensic, so forensic, the first phase, or the complete process of forensic is, the first phase is acquisition. So you have to basically acquire the data. So acquisition refers to collection of digital media to be examined. And depending on the type of examination, this can be physical hard drive, optical media, storage card, like from camera, mobile phone, chips from embedded devices, or even single document files also. In any case, the media has to be examined very delicately, and at a minimum, the acquisition process should consist of creating a duplicate of the original media, which I have just discussed with you, maintaining good record with any original media. That also I told that. More than technical aspects in this course, or if you are in this profession, you have to be a good manager and a spy sort of thing. Next is analysis. Now, analysis refers to the actual media examination, and obviously the analysis has always to be done on the copy disk, not onto the original disk. The reason I have told already, because if you are opening, or if you are doing something on the original disk itself, there may be some processes in the background which we may not be knowing, and they can override some file onto that disk. So first thing is that original disk has always to be write protected. Even copy also created, they maintained with a write protection mechanism. There are several write protectors available in the market. Some write protectors are hardware based, so we have small pen drive size things, which if you attach with the disk, then they make this disk write protected, so you cannot write anything onto the disk. There are some software write protectors also, so there are some programs which basically when you activate them, they will disallow something to be written onto the disk. But there is a lot of debate onto that software write protection, whether that's true, or that can be bypassed in certain cases. And since there is this is a program only, might be we can have some clever person can have some other ways bypass that also. You might now be knowing that these mobile phones or MacBook systems nowadays, even on Android also, Android, MacBook, iOS, etc. If they are lost, and if someone tries to basically give the password several times, then they reset the device. Basically, they wipe out all the data. I think all of you know this.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
They wipe out. They have the facility to wipe out the data because the data is private to you. So even if someone gets it and tries to crack it, so as soon as they try to crack it, and that's what the popularity of Mac systems are basically iOS devices like iPhone and so on. So they wipe out the data. So your data is not basically going to be in others' hand. Might be they can get your physical phone, but the data they cannot get. And that's a big advantage, or you can say a big relief for the person who are using, who had that particular mobile. Although you will be losing some money, but you will be losing, you will be preserving your privacy. So analysis consists of 3 pages: identification, analysis, and interpretation. So in identification consists of locating items or item present in the media in question, and then further reducing this set to items or artifact of interest. So you have you have copied the whole disk, you have a lot of information onto that disk. So first of all, you have to focus exactly what are the places I'm going to analyze. And then the next thing is obviously after identifying those places or those locations, you are going to do appropriate analysis like file system analysis, file content examination, log analysis, statistical analysis, and any other type of analysis. And then the result of the analysis is interpreted based on the examiner's training, expertise, experimentation, and experience. So what that result mean basically. And then the presentation. So presentation refers to the process by which the examiner shares the result of analysis phase with interested party or parties. And as I told that interested party or parties, you cannot presume computer. So you have to be very clever in that how to write that report so that they can understand it. It maintains all the scientific methods so that they can defend in the case court also. It consists of generating a report of action taken by the examiner, artifacts uncovered, and the meaning of those artifacts. The presentation phase can also include the examiner defending these findings under the challenge. So if needed, you can even ask that particular advocate to be with you while you are writing if they can give some time to you. Now, first part. So if you talk about this course now, in the first part of this course, I will be talking about what is called as media analysis. So if you in the whole, this is where I've made the whole, in fact, the course analysis also you can say. This is what we will be going to discuss in throughout this course. So we'll start with disk and file system analytic because as I told, most of the analysis will be around the disk and file, how disk is organized and how files are stored onto those disks and how different files are, what are those files, what are there in the files and so on. So a major portion of this course will go into the disk and file system analytic. Then we'll move on to Windows system and artifacts. So specific to Windows operating system, what things we can gather, whether it's a live or it's a dead case. Now, live case means you have a system on and you are trying to run that. So you are trying to think from that. So that's a live disk analysis, live Windows analysis, and so on. So you move to that scene and you had a system running there and then you are trying to do something. But before doing that live analysis, always assure that you are disconnecting every internet connection and you are looking into the processes, check whether there is any process which is self-destructive or which is programmed by the user that if some unusual event occurs that can wipe out the disk and so on. So you have to be very cautious in that. The dead analysis, you have just removed the disk and then you are taking this to your system, copying it what I just told. So that's a dead analysis part. Then system artifacts what we can get from a Linux system. Then we have Mac OS Mac OS system artifacts. Then we'll have network in artifacts or basically internet artifacts, other network artifacts that I will add some more portions here, still not complete. And then file analysis and so on. So these are the major portions of this course which we will be discussing throughout this. So next thing is, and a major portion of these things goes into basically the media analysis. How to do say analysis on a disk. So media analysis deals with file and media like deleted files, files in folder, files in other files, and so on. They are in or in some container. So the goal of media analysis is to identify, extract, analyze these files and the file system they relies on. And in order to do that, you need to have a good understanding of the file system. Identification include determining which active and deleted files are available in a volume. Extraction is the retrieval of relevant file data and metadata. And analysis is the process in which we apply our intelligence to the data set and really come up with some meaningful results. There is another concept called as file carving. Now, as I told that people can delete and they can think that I have deleted the file. But you know now at least that as I told, as I promised you that it has been written by some other thing, you can always extract that those lost information. So that is called as file carving. So these informations are like there are two parts. One you have deleted. Now one you have deleted and you have not written anything. And then what happens? The whole file, however it was organized. So कहाँ कहाँ पे उस file के portion थे, that whole linked list will be there, and you can easily retrieve that file. But if some portions of the file has been written, in some portion of the file that some data has been written, then those information will be lost. So if you think of a linked list, basically you have separate lists, separate nodes only. The links between them has been destroyed somewhere. Some of the links, not all, but some of the links have been destroyed. So there is a linked list. There is a of nodes basically now. Some nodes are connected, some other nodes are not connected. They have been disconnected. So file carving basically goes through each and every one and tries to recreate that, right? It tries to recreate that file. So that's another idea, another word which is used, file carving. Now let's go through the disk itself. What a disk is, everyone knows what a disk is. So a disk refers to a physical storage media. It can be a SCSI or it can be a SATA hard drive. ये सबको पता है? Had I kept the no. So let me just go through. इसका स्ट्रक्चर कैसा होता है? Something like this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ऐसे होता है ना? बहुत सारे
Yes, sir.
प्लेटर्स होते हैं. बहुत सारे प्लेटर्स होते हैं. ऊपर से भी हेड होता है, नीचे से भी हेड होता है. And then these are divided into smaller portion called as sectors. So these are called tracks. बड़े वाले को बोलते हैं ट्रैक और सबको एक साथ मिला के हम लोग बोलते हैं cylinders. This everyone knows. The small portion यहाँ से यहाँ तक हम बोलते हैं sector, and then we know that basically sector is the smallest unit which is addressed on a disk.
Yes.
So पहले डिस्क का एड्रेसिंग होता था CHS. ये एड्रेसिंग होता था सिलेंडर हेड सेक्टर. सिलेंडर हेड सेक्टर. सो एक डिस्क को अगर रिफर करना है तो वी जस्ट नीड टू फाइंड आउट द नंबर ऑफ बिट्स. सो इनिशियल जो पुराने बहुत पुराने डिस्क जो थे उसमें 10 बीट होता था सिलेंडर के लिए. आई थिंक 4 बीट होते थे हेड के लिए एंड 512 मतलब कितना बीट हो जाएगा? आई थिंक इज इट 10 आई एम मेकिंग सम मिस्टेक. लेट मी जस्ट फाइंड आउट. जैसे था 512 कितना होगा? 9 ना?
Sir,
8 बीट, सॉरी 8 बीट. सो 8 बीट का ये हो गया. तो ये हो सकता था. यानी कि अगर कोई एड्रेस मान लो अगर हम इस तरह का नंबर देते हैं कहीं 001, दैट मीन्स हम लोग प्रॉब्ली से मान लो कि ये 0th सेक्टर था और सिलेंडर नंबर्स 0 से यहाँ से जाते हैं. आउटर सिलेंडर इज नंबर्ड एज 0 और ये इंक्रीज करता है ऐसे. एक हार्ड डिस्क में आउटर सिलेंडर इज नंबर्ड 0. ओके, एंड देन देयर इज अ हेड. नाउ जो सिलेंडर होते हैं, सिलेंडर में क्या होता है, ऊपर और नीचे दोनों तरफ हेड होते हैं. सो बेसिकली इंस्टेड ऑफ कि अपर पार्ट है कि लोअर पार्ट है, दे हैव हेड्स आर नंबर कि कौन सा हेड किसके साथ है. सो 4 बीट का हेड नंबर है. दैट मीन्स हाउ मेनी 2 to the power 16 different heads can be. That means we can have 8 different platters. 8 प्लेटर तक को हम एड्रेस कर सकते हैं. तो कौन सा प्लेटर है? सो इफ इट इज नाउ 0, सो यू कैन कंसीडर कि सबसे बाहर वाले का सबसे लोएस्ट वाला मान लो कि प्लेटर यूज हो रहा है. तो ये सबसे बाहर वाला, सबसे लोएस्ट वाले प्लेटर का सबसे बाहर वाले का 0th नंबर सेक्शन मान लो कि ये 1 है. सो फर्स्ट सेक्टर रिफर किए. सो ये ऐसे एड्रेसिंग होता था. नाउ इस एड्रेसिंग में जो है, यू कैन चेक, इट कैन एड्रेस ओनली अप टू how many what will be the size, it will be around 504 MB disk. इससे ज्यादा बड़ा डिस्क को ये एड्रेस नहीं कर सकता है, इतना MB का ही डिस्क एड्रेस कर सकता है. ये काफी ओल्ड सिस्टम में यूज होते थे. इनफैक्ट व्हेन आई यूज्ड टू स्टडी, जब मैं बीटेक कर रहा था तो डिस्क क्या रैम 2 MB 4 MB के रैम आते थे और डिस्क ऑलमोस्ट इसी साइज के आते थे. तो हमसे पहले समझ सकते हो कि क्या होता होगा. हम लोगों के समय में इनफैक्ट IDE आने लगा था. IDE ATA डिस्क जिसको बोलते हैं, वो आने लगा था. तो ATE जब आया, ये हम इनफैक्ट मेरे बीटेक करने के पहले का, बट वी हैव सीन सम ऑफ दिस डिस्क्स. हम लोग जब पढ़ते थे तो IDE डिस्क आ गया था, इंटीग्रेटेड डिस्क इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स. इस समय क्या होता था कि सब अलग होते थे, मतलब डिस्क एक अलग होता था और सिलेंडर अलग से, उसके जो लॉजिक सर्किट्स होते हैं वो अलग से होते थे. IDE जब आया तो ये इंटीग्रेटेड डिस्क आया, जो डिस्क आज तुम देखते हो. इसी इंटीग्रेटेड वो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और डिस्क पूरे एक बॉक्स में था. तो जब वो पूरे बॉक्स में था तो उसका ये लोगों ने एड्रेसिंग मैकेनिज्म को चेंज किया. एड्रेसिंग मैकेनिज्म को चेंज करके नाउअडेज आज जो एड्रेसिंग मैकेनिज्म आता है उसको हम बोलते हैं LBA एड्रेसिंग. ये देखे होगे तुम जब इंस्टॉलेशन वगैरह करते हो तो LBA एड्रेसिंग कहते हैं इसको, लॉजिकल ब्लॉक एड्रेसिंग. नाउ लॉजिकल ब्लॉक एड्रेसिंग आर नॉट लाइक दिस, ऐसे नहीं करते हैं हम. लॉजिकल ब्लॉक एड्रेसिंग में क्या करते हैं हम लोग, सारे सेक्टर्स को सीक्वेंशियली एड्रेस कर देते हैं. दैट मीन्स ये 0 1 2 3 4 5. अब मान लो कि इस बाहर वाले ट्रैक पे नीचे की तरफ मान लो कि 20 सेक्टर हुआ, तो 0 to 19 वहां गया, तो उसके ऊपर वाले 22 39 तक जाएगा. उसके वाले पोर्शन में फिर वो 40 से शुरू होगा एंड सो ऑन. ठीक है, समझा पा रहा हूं?
Yes.
तीन अलग अलग ये नहीं होंगे. अब एक सीक्वेंशियल ऑर्डर में पूरे डिस्क का ये हो रहा है. तो देयर इज अ फॉर्मूला बाय विच, अगर तुम्हारे पास, व्हाई यू नीड टू नो, बिकॉज तुम जब एज ए एक्सपर्ट, फॉरेंसिक एक्सपर्ट काम करोगे तो तुम ये तो नहीं क्लेम कर सकते हो कि नहीं मैं वो पुराने डिस्क का ये नहीं करूंगा. आई विल नॉट डू फॉरेंसिक एनालिसिस ऑफ दिस ओल्डर डिस्क, ये मेरे जमाने का नहीं है. सो देयर इज अ फॉर्मूला बाय विच यू कैन कन्वर्ट. इनफैक्ट फॉर्मूला इज cylinder into heads per cylinder plus head whole multiplied by sector per track plus sector minus 1. तो अगर कहीं एड्रेसेस इस तरह के, दूसरा अंतर है कि इस केस में क्या होता था कि तब बायस, कंप्यूटर बायस कुछ नहीं करता था. यहाँ पे क्या होता है कि बायस में इसके कन्वर्जन्स होते हैं. सो बायस कन्वर्ट करके इसको अप्रोप्रिएट जगह पे ले जाता है, जो डिस्क का अपना इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स है वहां उस रजिस्टर तक भेजता है इंफॉर्मेशन. सो दिस इज वन थिंग. सो यू नीड टू नो द कन्वर्जन ऑफ CHS. मैं वो बुक भेज दूंगा जिस बुक में है. इनफैक्ट यू कैन सी दिस बुक, सो इफ हार्ड कॉपी इज अवेलेबल, so this is the book. I think this book is specially written, this is a very you can say very popular and quite widely used book. इस बुक का कि इसके जो ऑथर हैं प्रोफेसर कैरियर, जो हम लोग टूल यूज करेंगे, सेल्यूट किट करके एक जो टूल है, दैट वाज डेवलप्ड बाय हिम ओनली. ओके, fortunately I think I have got a soft copy of this book also which I will share with you. So ये डिस्क इलेक्ट्रॉनिक है. नाउ डिस्क उसके अलावा जानते हो कि ये तो एक पोर्शन हुआ, बट हम लोग जब काम करते हैं तो हम डिस्क को कभी ऐसे नहीं देखते हैं. हम लोग डिस्क को कैसे देखते हैं, लॉजिकल वॉल्यूम्स में देखते हैं. सो वॉल्यूम 1 वॉल्यूम 2 एंड दैट्स वेयर योर प्रोग्राम आल्सो. प्रोग्रामिंग में भी जब करते हैं हम, लिनक्स सिस्टम में भी अगर कमांड देते हैं डिस्क का, तो वो सीरियल नंबर वॉल्यूम नंबर तो देता है, बट आफ्टर दैट इट शोज यू कि एग्जैक्टली कितने वॉल्यूम है. लास्ट डे भी तुम लोग चेक कर रहे थे तो क्या आ रहा था, SDA1 SDA2 SDA3, एक ही डिस्क था, अलग वॉल्यूम्स थे, है ना.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
सो टुडे विल स्टॉप हियर. नेक्स्ट डे हम लोग कुछ लैब क्लासेस में भी कुछ पोर्शन शुरू में बताएंगे एंड देन वी विल स्टार्ट डिस्कसिंग. सो एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है सभी लोगों से कि बी रेडी विथ योर Kali Linux सिस्टम एंड अ पेन ड्राइव so that at least you can get some hands on, because देखो जो भी कोड है and I will also share you some video lectures जो तुम अपने घर पे देख सकते हो कि कैसे हम लोग इसको डिस्क ये को कर सकते हैं. ठीक है, मेरे पास ये सारे लेक्चर्स मैंने एक बॉक्स ड्राइव में रखे हैं एंड दैट लिंक आई विल शेयर विथ यू सो दैट यू कैन सी ऑल दोज वीडियोस जो भी है, और वहां से पाओ कि एग्जैक्टली क्या क्या है. जैसे you can see this, so I have collected some of the videos. So like if you see this one, so like this command especially.
DD is a file copying and conversion tool that are.
So you can see, right? Visible है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
आवाज भी जा रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. देखो DD कमांड यूज करके कैसे कर सकते हैं. तो पहले कल के क्लास में मैं एक्सपेक्ट करूंगा कि तुम अपने पेन ड्राइव में DD कमांड लेके यूज करो. नेक्स्ट आई विल गिव यू सर्टेन DD से फाइल्स ओनली. मैं तुमको कुछ फाइल फॉर्मेट्स में दूंगा. पहले बात तो जो होता है कि जैसे जब हम कॉपी करते हैं ना कहीं से भी, तो बहुत सारे फॉर्मेट्स है कि कैसे कॉपी करेंगे. तो पॉपुलर फॉर्मेट्स जो है वो .dd फॉर्मेट है, .eff फॉर्मेट है, और बहुत सारे इस तरह के .img फॉर्मेट है. तो बहुत सारे फॉर्मेट्स है. जैसे इन केस और FTK, ये दो कंपनियां हैं जो इस केस में बहुत मतलब फॉरेंसिक के फील्ड में काफी पॉपुलर है. दे हैव डेवलप्ड अ लॉट ऑफ देयर ओन टूल्स. They are not obviously free, but they are widely used. So there are free tools for them कि अगर in case भी अगर कुछ created है, we can check in our local system or with a freeware tool. So that's what we do. You can see here this whole structure कि यहाँ पे इतने सारे 5-5, 7-7 मिनट के वीडियो है. So this all I will share with you. Plus we have collected, I think collected some data sets also, lab materials. In terms of lab materials, you can see here one data set, like here I have kept, like this is a data set like suspect data.dd. Now you need to analyze and you need to find out कि क्या है इस suspect data में, कैसे इसको retrieve करेंगे, क्योंकि एक DD format में है. So this is basically duplicated format जो उन्होंने suspect के data से लिया था और उसको फिर उन्होंने copy करके रखा है. So what analysis we can do on this? So this is how our lab class continue or go on. Right, so today we'll stop here. Tomorrow see you again at around 9:30, I think. But
Yes, sir.
before that, only one request, be ready with your systems. मैंने ऐसा नहीं कि सर मेरे में काली काम नहीं कर रहा है, वैसे तो अभी घर पे हो, तुम क्या कर रहा है नहीं कर रहा है, that we are not going to see, but for you only कि अगर कर पाओगे तो ज्यादा है, क्योंकि अच्छा है, क्योंकि अगर नहीं करोगे तो देखो इस कमांड को याद तो कोई कर नहीं सकता है. अगर खुद से कर सकते हो, कर रहे हो, तो वो एक अलग ये रहता है कि हमने किया है, आई नो एटलीस्ट कि क्या होता है. ठीक है, देन सी यू टुमारो. बाय.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, sir.